Hello. A few days ago on Painter Factory, there was a question about liquid acrylic painting, or taking acrylics and pouring them on the canvas and creating an image that way. And they were saying that it would be nice to have this ability in Painter. Well, I think you have it already, although, we can always be excited by new things. But let me show you a couple of techniques that are similar. If they're not going to be the same thing, because Painter emulates the final look of traditional painting, but the actual process of getting that final look, it's not going to be exactly like the pouring technique. We're not going to put paint into a cup and pour it. But let's take a look at this. Now, I'm going to use some brushes that were created by David Gell. David is an incredible brush maker. He's retired now, and he gave me all of his brushes to put on my blog, and they are available on my blog for free. So if you want to try this technique, you can go and get those brushes there. All right, so I'm going to get a brush called Suminagashi, and I don't know that I'm pronouncing that right, Suminagashi A. And I've got a nice orange selected, and I'm just going to start painting with that. And you see it looks kind of like the poured paint after it's been poured. If I grab another color, I can put that in, and I can push the color that's already there by going through it. We can grab another color, and let's try a different kind of brush. Let's go to Suminagashi Dream. It's very similar to the one we just did. There are some variations that have to do with color expression or color variability and so forth. But as you can see, it's similar to painting with by pouring paint on the canvas. It's not pouring one blob and letting it flow. Now I could use another brush like this one, which is Suminagashi Gradient. And what it's going to do is use the colors from a gradient. So I've picked this gradient right here, which has got orange, yellows, and blues in it. And I'm going to go back to the brush, and when I paint with it, it's going to paint with those orange, blues, and yellows together, so it's like the brush is smearing some. But see how it also smears what's on the canvas. Now you decide, where you want these to go. There's another brush called Life Form. There's several life forms, and that's kind of a fun brush. Let's take this hot pink. And if you go slow with it, you're going to get kind of like a ribbon effect. Let's make it bigger so you can see it better. Ooh, not quite that big. All right, so if you go slow, it's going to give you this ribbon effect, like you're seeing. But if you go fast, you're going to get these kind of breakups. They're almost like the cells you were talking about creating before. If we make it small again, and fast, see, I get a different kind of look. Now, you also mentioned things like being able to blow the brush, or blow the paint. I think somebody had I don't know what it was, but a blower of some sort. Well, this brush could do that. See? It's pushing all that paint away. You just have to start outside from it and start pushing. And then we get these kind of closed up spaces that she was getting. Okay, so you see you can do that. Then there's some other brushes that just kind of give you some interesting marks. This one is Z Sumagashi Well, and it kind of breaks the paint up. Gives you kind of a little, I don't know what you'd call it, but what I'm saying is that in a case like this, you're getting some interesting marks that are not like a like poured paint. It might be something a little bit different. Now, something else you can do is you can go to a watercolor. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to right-click on my canvas layer, and I'm going to select Lift Canvas to Watercolor Layer. Now, the brush I'm going to go to is called Sumagashi Splash, and that's a watercolor brush that I made. It would be in one of my sets. I don't really know which one, sorry. But what it's going to do is it's going to make little splashes of watercolor that are going to pop into what's already there and give us that sort of cell look, like what you're seeing there. Now, this is not unlike what the marble paper people do. Sumagashi is Japanese marbling paper. And so what they would do in cases like that is that they would put the ink on water and lay the paper down on top of it. And sometimes they would go in with another color and it would splash and break the piece up. So, or break up the ink that's already there. So this is sort of doing that, you see. And it gives you another kind of look. I have another one called Sumagashi Blob. I'll say it right in a minute. And I'm using one of my papers that's called Sumagashi. It was made by Sumagashi brushes, and so it's kind of swirled paper. And if I take this and I just drop it onto the thing and let it kind of flow on its own, it's going to give you that sort of breakup. Now, if you wanted to incorporate back into this, we could take this canvas and the layer and drop it to the canvas. Now that it's dropped to the canvas, we're back with Sumagashi. So I want to look for, here we go. I've got a Sumagashi point. And what that brush does is it simply comes in and can point stuff like that. Now, it's too big, so what I want to do is make it smaller. And then, see, I could come in and make some little points or drag. Now, you may remember that there's some brushes like this that are painters that are distortion brushes or FX brushes. So any of those that move the paint around could be used just like these are being used. If it's larger, it's going to push the paint, but it's going to push it to a point. See? Kind of drag it around. All right, so that's the gist of the story, that you can, I think, effectively make these poured acrylic imagery with using David's Sumagashi brushes. This particular category is called Sumagashi 2. There is a Sumagashi 1 as well, but the 2 has the best brushes in it. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.